Hey you witches, how you doing today? We're going to talk about finding your motivation in witchcraft. So, do you remember when you started? Maybe it was a few months back, maybe it was a few years back, but do you remember that energy and that enthusiasm that you had? Now, maybe it's faded a little. How do you get that spark back? That's what we're going to talk about today. For those of you who are new around here, my name is Taya. Welcome to the channel. It's lovely to have you. We talk about all things witchcraft here. For those of you who are returning viewers, maybe coming in from another video, welcome back. Thank you so much for your support. It's much appreciated. And all of you, please consider subscribing. It's a great way to help us build the channel. So, getting that spark back. Now, maybe you've tried a few things. You've, read a new book or attended a class or an event and, it just doesn't last. It feels like your motivation is gone. And you tell yourself, I should be doing more. Like more spellcrafting, more studying, more ritual, whatever it is, right? So before we get into motivation, we need to take a look at that statement. I should be doing more. Why? My first question is, why should you be doing more? What are you comparing yourself to? Who is telling you that you need to be doing more? Or are you striving for some perfectionism, some perfect craft that, maybe isn't attainable? Maybe your motivation problem is an issue of definition. So I would ask, what do you want to be doing in your craft? What do you think is enough witchcraft? And by enough, I mean, what's the minimum that you need to do to keep your practice valid in your opinion? And I'm not ideally, right? Ideally, I should be doing not some imagined idealistic practice, but what is the bare minimum you could be doing in your practice and still feel valid as a witch? And I mean, each and every one of us have to define that for ourselves. It's not something I can tell you, but set a loose guideline for yourself. Loose being the key word, right? How much time do you want to spend with meditation, with casting spells, interacting with deity, ancestors, or spirits? How much time do you want to spend studying? How many books do you want to read? How many classes do you want to take? Or how many events do you want to attend, etc.? When I say loose, keep this loose. It needs to grow and evolve with you, this idea of what you at a minimum should be doing. You can always do more, but at what is the minimum that you require to consider yourself a valid witch? Because then we get into the motivation piece. And we'll come back to this list. But when you don't enjoy what you're doing, you stop wanting to do it. So not wanting to do witchcraft is because it's become unenjoyable to you on some level. So could it be that you have placed such high expectations on yourself that you can't possibly meet them? Now you're feeling bad, so you lose enjoyment, you stop doing it, then you feel bad and lose more enjoyment, etc. And it just becomes this big negative feedback loop. So go back to your minimums list. Is it reasonable? Is it within your realistic ability to accomplish? Focusing on what you want to do. So, I'll give you some examples. I'm going to pull a tarot card every day. Instead, right, that creates a very, like every single day I'm going to do this. How about I will pull a tarot card on the days I feel I need some direction? So you might do it daily for a month, and then you might just leave it for a week, and then you might come back to it and do a card here and there. Right? If you're saying I'm going to do it every single day, you're setting yourself up for right, an unrealistic expectation. There are going to be days when you don't feel like doing it, or days when you wake up, you miss the alarm, you're running late, you don't have time to do it in the morning, blah, 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 your day goes and and you just never have a chance to do it. So I will pull a tarot card on the days I feel I need some direction. How about instead of I'll do a spell every month or every moon cycle or whatever, I will do spellcraft when I feel called to better my life. Doesn't that just take the pressure off? So it's not like, oh my gosh, the full moon is coming, I have to figure out a spell to do. It's like, when I feel called, I will do it. And even better, keep a list of things that you feel in your life could use some magical intervention. Not because you have to do anything about it right now, but so that when you're feeling called to better your life, you're like, I really feel like I could do some spellcraft this month. That'd be a cool thing to add in today. You've got this list that you can just go, yeah, I want to work on some prosperity, or I want to do some protection wards, or whatever. How about instead of I will read X number of books a month, I will read books when they find me and are of interest. And then keep a list of topics that interest you. It's funny how things will work out. I mean, I've got a ton of books sitting there that I, like, quotes, need to read. And some of them just aren't speaking to me right now. And then my daughter went and bought me a book on mushroom identification, of all things. Turns out that was on my list of things I was interested in, and the book found me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and now I don't feel bad about ditching some of those other books to go and read this book and study up on mushroom identification, right? So keep a list of topics of interest, and as things come up, you'll see some serendipity, and you're going to go, oh yes, now I feel like doing that. So make your genuine desires for your craft your number one priority. If you follow your internal desires rather than the shoulds that are imposed externally on you, you'll walk a journey that's infused with joy and curiosity. You won't need to motivate yourself because you'll just feel like doing witchcraft. And I get it. Sometimes there are times when there are things we want to do, we know will be beneficial, even enjoyable once we do them, but we still need a little nudge to get going. And that's where we need to get a little bit creative with ourselves. So say it's reading a book. I can read books till the day's done. But I know for a lot of people, it's a bit of a chore, right? It's like, I really want that information. I want to learn what that book has to say. It's of interest to me. It's from my list, but I just it's hard to sit down and do it. Maybe get it on audiobook. In fact, get it on audiobook and make a goal of listening to it while you're out for your daily walk. Or maybe you need some extra external motivation. Join a book club. I'll start a book club, right? Maybe with meditation. I have a very hard time with meditation. So schedule it as a break from the hectic part of your day. So maybe it's like, you know what? You work in a crazy call center and it's like, you know what? On my lunch break, I'm going to go sit in my car and meditate for 10 minutes in the silence of my car. That's what I used to do. Or maybe you stay at home and it's like the mornings are hectic and you finally get the kids off to school and you get home and the house is quiet and it's like, okay, I'm going to take 10 minutes now to just sit and decompress from that craziness. Or it's when you walk in the door after a day of work and set up a new meditation corner that's inviting and makes you want to go and spend time there. So when you walk in and you drop your bags at the end of the day, you're like, I'm just going to go spend my 10 minutes and I'm just going to decompress from my day, do 10 minutes of meditation. Hey, maybe find some new meditation music that's got you kind of jazzed up to want to work with it, right? Again, sometimes we need to get a little bit creative. But that's the deal, right? With a bit of creativity, some focused lists of interests, and a general outline of our minimum guidelines for keeping up with our practice, we should be able to re-spark that original energy and enthusiasm. And remembering to focus on your path internally with your wants and desires, and you'll stay on a self-guided journey of joy and curiosity, right? Imagine that, a path led by joy and curiosity. I think that's what we should all strive for. So tell me, have you lost your motivation at some point? How did you get it back? Give us your tips and tricks. Yeah, these are mine. So leave us a comment, and that's our video for today. We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks so much, you guys.